Best chess piece talents to use in the Division 2 right now. So this is going to be a continuation. Last week, a few days ago or so, I did a best backpack talents to use and why, and now we're off to the chess pieces. The reason for this is we need to break down which backpacks, which chess pieces, and then we can finish up the series with which combinations to use and why. Because some chess piece talents and some backpack talents can be used with multiple, and some combinations are actually a lot stronger than you might think just by looking at it on paper. So, to continue this series, we are now going to deep dive into the chess piece talents, which ones to use, why, and some honorable mentions at the end. So, I hope you enjoy. Here we go. What's going on, YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 video, so sit back, relax, grab that popcorn, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. But that's right, chess piece talents, which ones, why, let's go. So first and foremost, we're going to focus on which ones are in my current loadouts, which ones I am using right now and why, and then we'll jump into which ones I have on my character as well. So I have, let's see here, I have 8 different builds that I am currently using, and let's look at the different chess pieces. So the first one I am using is the Sacrifice, this one Perfect Glass Cannon. Now the reason why I'm using this is with an all red build, you can get insane amounts of damage output before the enemy can even react. The best defense is a good offense, or whatever, John Madden. You know what I'm saying? So what you do with this is you put Perfect Glass Cannon on, and all of a sudden, all of your all-red DPS build, it's now amplified. You get to amplify all your damage by 30% and watch everything melt. This is actually the build I was using just the other day during my vendor resets, where I was just taking out random ads, while I was running over to Cassie Mendoza, and people were like, yo, you're on heroic with all directives and you're melting them like that? And it's like, yeah, dude, like all red perfect glass all day. Now, first up, the number one devil's advocate, kind of argument here would be the incoming damage. Now, yes, you're squishy. But the point of this chess piece talent is to get more damage output to overpower the enemy and not die from their bullets. You want them to die from your bullets. So, yes, you're squishy. Yes, you can die easily. But once you get a hold of it, you can kill all the enemies before they can even react and start shooting you. Not only that, but you can understand the reaction time with not only players but NPCs, to where as soon as you go to reload or something, get in cover, wait for them to, start running or whatever, jump out of cover and melt everything in front of you. It's really that simple. Perfect Glass Cannon and Glass Cannon are very strong in the Division 2. Highly recommend. They've been strong for 5 or 6 years now going, and nothing has changed. Now the next build, let's see here, right here, another Glass Cannon. Now this one is a skill build. Status effects all the way around, skill build, status, and explosives damage. Now the thing about the explosives damage is that it can one-shot your enemy and it can one-shot players, but only with Glass Cannon attached to it. Having kinetic momentum in like PvP, things like that, you might not have it in time, where you have to build stacks with kinetic momentum, and we'll talk about that here in a second because it's another great talent to use, and I do agree. It is a great substitute. But I also know that Glass Cannon out the gate hits harder. It does, because you get the amplified damage no matter what. It's no matter what, plug and play. You put it on, you get the amplified damage, you're good to go. Now, yes, you do get incoming damage, but you're squishy, you're a skill build. Like wouldn't you want to one-hit all of your enemies with your skills? Like, yeah, once they start piling on you and shooting you, yeah, you might go down pretty quick, but you're a skill build. This isn't about survivability builds, this is about doing damage and taking out the enemies. So, Moving on from the glass cannon, perfect glass cannon, now we're going into a survivability build. All right. Now, this one I am running perfectly efficient. Now, this is actually a dark zone build that I use quite a bit, and perfectly efficient is amazing for survivability purposes. So, efficient, just normal efficient, it gives you a 50% chance that your armor kit does not consume when you use it. But perfectly efficient gives you 75%. I tested this in a video probably a year ago, what have you, and my 4 armor kits legit turned into 16. Like, no kidding. And it's because I kept hitting armor kits, and they would not consume. This 75% chance of it not consuming is amazing. Not only that, but in PvP, you can do an instant med kit, and then within, the 10 seconds or whatever it takes to arm the talent again, you could then hit another med kit. So you could hit instant med kit, armor regeneration, full med kit, and then with this talent, none of them consume. And you're still running around with max armor and full med kits or armor kits, whatever. The reason why I say med kits is because in Division 1 they were called med kits, and in Division 2 they're called armor kits, but they're the exact same thing in both games. Now, as far as moving on from the perfectly efficient and survivability builds for like PvP in the Dark Zone, we then get, well, into our last one, which is more like Intimidate, Adrenaline Rush, things like that. And the thing about Intimidate, it was reworked. So here's the deal with Intimidate. Intimidate was a meta in year 2 when it was first introduced into the game, because you could use this with Bloodsucker, Adrenaline Rush, the Memento, anything that gave you bonus armor, and you would get so much amplified damage from this talent. So what they did in year 3 is they actually nerfed it into the ground, and then by year 5, they reworked it. So the way they reworked this talent is you gain stacks to get the damage. It's not just instant damage anymore. Now you gain stacks. But the way that they reworked it is you gain the stacks pretty quick. I mean, it like as soon as you get it, you're good. And the thing about Intimidate is that's as long as you have bonus armor. So once you get the bonus armor, you get these stacks up, and then when you roll up to an enemy, you already have it activated. So this is a really strong talent that a lot of people forgot about because they did nerf it into the ground. But they reworked the talent, and now, as long as you can get the stacks, you're good to go. It's really strong. Highly recommend with all of those different talents, Bloodsucker, Adrenaline Rush, maybe the Memento. But this is why we're doing a deep dive into the backpacks and the chest pieces and the combinations, because you need to know which ones are good for each category, and then we can start, playing mix and match, because Intimidate is good with multiple backpack talents. It's not just a one combination to rule them all, which, there might be a meta here and there, but there are multiple combinations you could use. Now, going back to my inventory, what else am I using? Well, kinetic momentum, like I was telling you earlier, is a great substitute for glass cannon for those skill builds. But, like I was saying earlier, you have to get the stacks up. But once you get the stacks up, just like Intimidate, you're good to go. It hits really freaking hard, and it's a lot of fun. Not only that, but you're not taking any extra incoming damage, so you're good, for the survivability purposes, as well as the overall damage purposes. Now, the only thing that I'm not really a fan of with kinetic momentum is the way that the stacks activate. So you have to be in combat, and then each of your skills will generate their own stack. Now, this is only while that skill is either on a not on a cooldown, or if it's active. So I don't know. It's like more stipulations, more prereqs you have to get into before you can even have this. I do like the glass cannon more because I can just run into a room and bada bing, bada boom. I get amplified damage and everything goes down. This one, it's more aimed towards, you get into cover, you throw your skill, you shoot the enemy a little bit, and then you have max stacks, and then you're good to go. So it's more on like what kind of play style you are with your skill builds. Next up, we have Headhunter and Perfect Headhunter. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because these are meta chess pieces. These are the best chess pieces to have for those specific builds. So let me explain. So, Perfect Headhunter. This is a chess piece that gives you more damage after you kill an enemy with a headshot. And it's based off of the amount of headshot damage you have on your build, and it does one shot the enemy after you have this activated and you start hitting more and more enemies. It's a one shot. However, it's only a one shot with certain types of weapons and builds. It needs to be like a pistol, rifle, marksman rifle, some sort of maybe like a semi-automatic with really high base damage. That way you can aim for the head, get that headshot kill, and then get more damage for the next headshot kill. People use this with Determined, and it's by far the meta. If you use a sniper or a rifle build, the Determined Headhunter meta is so far above everything else in the game, it's not even a competition. There is no debate. When it comes to marksman rifles, and even some of your pistol builds, Perfect Headhunter, Determined, or even Perfect Determined, Headhunter, these combinations are lethal. You can start one-shotting enemies, even up to heroic. You can start one-shotting named enemies. It's insane in the membrane. Now, the reason why I'm only showing you these two is because if you're using a pistol, you might want to use different combinations. So Douglas and Harding with normal Headhunter is just as good as the Perfect Headhunter. Now, yes, you do get the 150 additional, and you get the 125 additional. So there is a 25% difference there, but overall, you're really not going to see that switching it to a pistol. But what I typically do is I'll do the Chain Killer Walker Harris, because if I run 2 Walker Harris, I get the damage to armor. Or if I run this with Ninja Bike, I would get the damage to armor. There's a lot of, plus sides running Walker and Harris, where Douglas and Harding, yeah, you get the pistol damage, but besides that, stability and accuracy, it's not really making or breaking your build. Where Walker Harris, you get the weapon damage, you get the damage to armor, damage to health. All of those things are amazing. So these are the two to go for. You would either have the Douglas and Harding for a pistol build or the Chain Killer for everything else. Or you would use the Chain Killer with the Punch Drunk and then get the headshot damage from the Punch Drunk and the Douglas and Harding. But again, that goes into my combinations video that I'll be releasing somewhat soon. Now, moving down, we still have more efficient, more glass cannon, more perfectly efficient. I mean, these are all being used for a reason. These are the best chess pieces in the game. Now, as far as Spotter and Perfect Spotter. I think I might have one in my stash. Let me look really quick. It's on the closer. Might be on a different character, but let me just check really quick. That way I can show you the difference. Both of them are amazing, and yes, they are their own, or at least they were their own meta back when it first was released with the Kingbreaker and all that. But here are these two. Let's do closer and right there, booyah. So here's Spotter and Perfect Spotter. So normal Spotter gives you 15% amplified damage to all enemies that are pulsed, and Perfect Spotter gives you 20. Now this is weapon damage and skill damage. Such a great talent to have. The cool thing about this is you can use it with the Technician specialization, and based off of your weapon, you could use the linked laser pointer and just aim your weapon at the enemy, and that will pulse them. That would automatically amplify your damage and your skill damage just like that. It's really fun. A lot of people, when this first came out, they were using it with the Kingbreaker that gives you perfect flatline. Because remember, the weapon talent flatline amplifies your damage to pulsed enemies, and you can use that with Spotter to where you're amplifying your damage on your weapon and you're amplifying your damage on your build at the same time. It's amazing. But during Project Resolve about a year ago, they reworked a lot of the weapons, and one of those included the Kingbreaker. So that perfect flatline weapon kind of went into the trash because not only did they lower the RPM, but they also lowered the base damage on it. And it just kind of, it's just not my cup of tea anymore. But a lot of people still use Spotter and Perfect Spotter to this day, and it's a really strong talent to have. Not only that, but you could use it with like turret drone or maybe seeker mines, what have you. And as long as they're pulsed, put your skills out, and then they can get the amplified damage as well. It's a lot of fun. Next, we have the Henri or the Henri. This is the named Electric chess piece. Now, this one gives you perfect companion. The reason why I'm showing you this is because of the double companion meta. So yes, this will be explained also in my combinations video, but you can use this with companion on the backpack and have double companion activated at the same time. And that's why the developers came out with this, because companion is typically a backpack talent and they purposefully put it on a chess piece. So you can use it together. The only difference here is that the backpack only works when you're within 5 meters, where this chess piece is within 10 meters. So you get a longer range and you get more weapon damage from this chess piece. Now, the combination I'm showing you, having it double crit with that armor core, it's not the easiest to grind for, I promise you. I had to play Countdown for ages to get it, but as soon as I got it, good to go. It's a really fun thing to use, and that double companion talent, don't sleep on it. Use that with like a seeker mine or like a defender drone. You know what I'm saying? Just saying. Moving down, we do have the perfect intimidate. Works just like normal intimidate. You just get more damage, which is amazing. And just so you know, this hunter killer chess piece is going to be available for everyone in 2 weeks whenever they release the stretch goals event. So you're actually going to be able to get this without ever doing the Wony Hunters. It's insane that they're doing that, but I get it, They're getting close to sunsetting and getting ready for the next title to be released, so they're going to give access to all of these exclusive items to everybody. And that's why I'm showcasing this right now, is that you'll have this in a couple weeks if you don't have it already. And Perfect Intimidate is amazing. It's really fun, and it's on Golden Gear. So remember, the 2-piece Golden Gear gives you armor regeneration, and the 3-piece gives you 10% total armor. So you could run Perfect Intimidate on a tank build and get all of that damage just right then and there. Pretty cool. Moving on, we have Obliterate. So Obliterate I should have on 2. Yeah, right here. So I have one on a Grupo and I have one on a Cheska. The reason being is it's all based on crits. Do not run Obliterate if you are not running high crit chance, because it's all based off of your crit hits. For example, if I have it right here on my Cheska chess piece with double crit, Obliterate will give me more weapon damage whenever I crit hit the enemy. So the more crit hits, the more stacks you're going to get, you're good to go. Not only that, but if you put this on, like, say, an SMG build, SMGs typically have near max crit chance, and you're able to activate this talent and max it out within half a magazine. You know what I'm saying? Like, just really quick. You burst damage the enemy, and then all of a sudden you have Obliterate, and you can reload and use Obliterate. Not only that, the cool thing about Obliterate is that there's no cooldown. So as soon as you max out Obliterate and you're still crit hitting the enemy, you can keep max stacks the entire time. It's just how fast are you to get to those max stacks. And it is, again, based off of crits. Remember that. Following the Obliterate, we have the exact opposite. We go from a damage talent to a survivability talent. So this is Perfect Vanguard. The reason why I'm showing you Perfect Vanguard is for raids and legendary content. You typically do not need Vanguard or Perfect Vanguard on your build at all. But if you're using it for a specific raid function or legendary content, this could really help out not only you, but your team. Because what Vanguard, or in this case, Perfect Vanguard, what this does is it grants 50% of your armor as bonus armor to all allies. And that's the big player here. It's all about survivability with this talent. And not only that, you could use this with, say, Galvanize on the backpack, and all of a sudden you get 50% of your armor as bonus armor from the backpack and 50% of your armor as bonus armor from your chest piece, giving all of your allies 100% of your armor as bonus armor. So if you were to run that with, say, a 2 million armor build or a 1.8 million armor build, all of a sudden, all of your teammates that are DPS builds are immediately tanks with DPS damage. It's really helpful not only for legendary content, but for some of the raid content as well. Moving down, the last one is a fan favorite. Now, Unbreakable, Perfect Unbreakable. Or Perfectly Unbreakable, I'm sorry. So, normal Unbreakable is 95% of your armor is repaired, and Perfectly Unbreakable is 100%. This is actually, fun fact, this is actually the very first named item I ever got in the game. Year one, and I made a video on it like the next day. I was like, oh my god, I got a freaking named item. Ah! It's crazy going back and watching those old videos. A little cringe, but it's funny. Anyways, Perfectly Unbreakable, it essentially doubles your armor. So if I'm running around with, say, 2 million armor, and I have Perfectly Unbreakable, that means as soon as that 2 million is depleted, I get another 2 million. Now, yes, there is a cooldown of 55 seconds, but that gives you plenty of time to reevaluate the situation and go back at the enemy. And then by the time you maybe lose your armor again, fully, it only works when you fully deplete your armor, then you could get it back again. So it's a really fun survivability talent. And the Perfectly Unbreakable is on a Badger Tough, so you could use this with a Shoddy and have some fun, especially like, say, the Scorpio, something like that. But all right, so these are all the ones that are just on my character right now and on my current builds, okay? And I explained which ones to use and why. And in the next one, we'll go over combinations, because there are certain chess piece talents that are good, but only in a certain combination. So let me go ahead and show you some of the honorable mentions. So to do that, all I'm going to do is go to the recalibration library, go to chess pieces, and go down to the talents. So let's check out some talents and see which ones I did not go over that might still be very helpful to you and your builds. So scrolling down here, Empathic Resolve, I didn't go over that one, but that does help out. I really don't really like that one, though. No. Overwatch, no, you have to stay in cover. I really wouldn't recommend that one. Gunslinger. Gunslinger is a great chess piece talent, but only in combination with a certain backpack talent. Versatile. With those two combined, with our powers combined, it's actually really deadly. It's a really good combination. But I would never use Gunslinger outside of that combination. And I think that's why I didn't recommend it today, because I would typically not use this chess piece talent unless I was actually using that specific combination. Trauma. Trauma is another one. I used Trauma on my other character just like yesterday. And it is a really good chess piece, but there is a cooldown factor. So remember, it's a 30-second cooldown. So you would have to use this with something else to do more damage outside of the whole Trauma Wicked thing. So what I recommend is using this with, like, say, the Pestilence or the Iron Lung, because remember, the Pestilence would give damage over time, and the Iron Lung would give them a burn factor to where they could freak out, run around, and heal up while you're getting your trauma back, and then you could go at them all over again. But my biggest issue with Trauma is the 30-second cooldown. Not a big fan. Moving down, and there's really not much. I wouldn't recommend any of these other ones. So I guess Trauma and Gunslinger are my two honorable mentions. and everything else I would typically stay away from. So I hope this helped explain which chess piece talents to go for and why. And stay tuned for a combinations video where I'm going to show the best talent combos to use and why. But that's it for me for today, anyways. I am Kamikazevondoom. If you found this helpful or informative in any way, shape, or form, please hit the thumbs up, support the channel by subscribing, and let me know which chess piece talents you use all the time and why. Let's discuss. And don't forget to shout out where you're from. It's cool to see where everyone is from. But again, I'm Kamikazevondoom. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your day. And peace out.